to go for this week over characteristics of poetry. The first thing I want to start out with is, what text features do you notice? We just finished text features not too long ago. So I'd like you to look at your packet and I'd like you to identify some of the text features. For example, some text features that I noticed right off the bat include our title. I also noticed some underlined vocabulary words. And these vocabulary words, I'm guessing, are probably going to be important. So we're going to pay special attention to our vocabulary. I also noticed that there is almost like a picture, but inside there are more words. But those words are separated from the rest of the words. And we're using vocabulary words that match here and here. So my guess is that these two vocabulary words are being illustrated on the front of this paper. So those would be some key text features to pay attention to. So I'm going to read this for you today and we're going to discuss it really quick. So, characteristics of poetry. A poem describes things, shares a feeling, and tells a story. So I'm going to take my highlighter and I am going to highlight my poem. A poem has rhythm or pattern of beats like a song. I'm going to highlight my vocabulary words. These are going to be important for us later as we start to write some of our own poetry. A poem is made up of lines. Can anybody tell me what a line is? Just off the bat, what do you think it is? Take a quick guess. A line is going to be a single line. If you guess that, you guess correctly. A line is a single line of a poem. Most poems have larger parts called stanzas. I'm going to highlight stanza. And you'll notice that's the same thing here. So I'm going to highlight that. So what do you suppose a stanza is if you're looking strictly at the picture, that text feature with the arrow? A stanza is pointing to this group of words. It's almost like a paragraph. Remember when we numbered our paragraphs in some of our reading? So our stanza has more than one line. The words in a poem may even make a shape. Repetition is when words or lines repeat. I'm going to read to you the poem that's included on this page called April Rain Song. Let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat up your head with silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. The rain makes still pools on the sidewalk. The rain makes running pools in the gutter. The rain plays a little sleep song on your roof at night. And I Love the Rain by Langston Hughes. So, if you had to count the number of lines in this poem, how many lines are there? I'll give you a minute to count them. Now let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you got 7 lines, you were correct. Now the diagram helps you count the stanzas. So circle the number of stanzas. If you circled the number 3, you were correct. There are 3 stanzas to this poem. I'm including this reading for Creatures in the Classroom on a separate video. but we will be using this for the next worksheet. So let's walk through poetry words. If you've noticed the vocabulary box on the right-hand side, we're going to be plugging it in. That's right, we're going to use our test-taking strategy to complete this page. So the vocabulary words you have are beats, rhythm, stanzas, lines, and rhyme. So using the poem, The Creature in My Classroom, choose the word from the box that best completes each sentence, and then find the word in the puzzle. We're going to use our test-taking strategies to complete 1 through 5 together. So number 1, core and door are words that, let's plug it in, beats, rhythm, stanzas, lines, or rhyme. Core and door. What did you guys select? If you selected the word rhyme, you were correct. Number 2. The first 2 blank of my poem have 5 words each. Let's go back and figure out what he might be talking about. So remember, we're using creature in the classroom. So he said 5 words each, the first 2 of something. So it's either the first 2 lines or the first 2 stanzas, because those would be our 2 choices, right? So let's count and see what we come up with for an answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. Let's do stanzas first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, what do you see as the problem there? Can it be stanzas? If you shook your head no, or you said no, or you raised your hand and said no, then you're correct. It cannot be the stanza. But let's double check our work. Let's count the lines this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do our first 2 lines each have 5 words? Yes. So now go back to your page and use the correct word to fill in the blank. Number 3, I counted the number of blank in each line. There were 4. Alright, so I'm going to help you out with this one. This one's a little trickier, and I had to pause the video and come up with a way of helping you understand this one. So the answer for this one is going to be beats. Counting beats is a lot similar to counting syllables in a word, but not quite the same. So I'm going to use the first line. It appeared inside our classroom. So when you're counting the beat of a poem, you may want to try clapping it out a little bit. We're not going to use this whole lot, especially since you're not sitting in a classroom where we get to practice it over and over. So it appeared inside our classroom. It took about 4 beats to get through that sentence or that line. At 10:15. It took about 4 beats to get through that line as well. It gobbled up the chalkboard. Again, another 4 beats to that line. 2 erasers and a pen. You'll notice I'm clapping it out. it helps even Miss Steely to clap it out. So again, in that line, there was another 4 beats. It gobbled up teacher's apple. Okay, another 4 beats. So what do you notice the pattern for this poem is? The number of beats per line repeats itself. So your beats are about 4 on this poem. So number 3, we're going to write the word beats. Remember, always go back and cross out the word you've used. Number 4, the poem has a blank, like a song, a rhythm, or a stanza. I'll give you a second. What do you think might be the correct answer? I'll go ahead and read number 5 as well for those that are working ahead. The poem is divided into 3 blank. Each one has 8 lines. That one we can actually go back and circle our evidence. Remember, a line is a single, almost sentence. I'm going to back that up so you can see. But we have, if we were going to number this, kind of like paragraphs when we number, we would number this number 1, number 2, and number 3. Who remembers what those parts were called from the poem? Was it called a rhythm or a stanza? I'll let you finish completing this page all on your own.